Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Live with Cami. This is Cami Wanis, the Freedom Scholar here. I am super excited because we are going to talk about leadership today. And this is a huge passion of mine. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So before we get started, though, I want to just check and make sure we are live in all the places where I need to be live. Okay. So let me just check that real quick because I know it has been a little bit of a change with some technology has been not working well with our Facebook group. So I just want to make sure that we are good. And it is coming up right now. But if you are watching this, how do you feel about leadership? Like, what do you think is? What are some of the main skills, and how do you develop that in your family? It's really, really important for us to think about that because we are so in need of leadership in our world today. Aren't we true leaders? Like, I want to just really think about that for a second. I mean, true leaders. Oh my gosh, we're live. This is so amazing. Okay, so I am super excited about this, you guys. I am just this is amazing that we can have that we can go live without having super duper complications. So I just want to make sure that we have everyone on board. And let me just type really quick and tag everybody so everybody's on the same page. So we're going to learn how to create a leadership culture in your home, in your family. Okay, so we're live now. I'm super excited about this because this is so amazing. So amazing, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you didn't see me before, this is Cami Wanis. I am the Freedom Scholar, and I go live every single Thursday in our Facebook group and in our YouTube channel to share with you awesome information about homeschool topics. And this is a homeschool topic because it's really about creating what are we doing with our kids? Creating the future, right? Creating the future. What are we doing with our kids at home? We have to be thinking long term. Oh my gosh, leaders are so necessary today, you guys. Will always they'll always be necessary, but they are really really necessary right now. I think everybody agrees with that. I talk to lots of parents and we all agree that it is super necessary. Our kids are going to be shaping what our future world looks like. So it's important that we raise true leaders, actual leaders who are solid in their foundation, who have a great education, capital G, capital E, great education. And I am so excited about this. And they are passionate to go out in the world and change the world for the better in their unique way. That is what I'm about. You guys, that's my mission. My mission is to help you guys, the parents, raise your kids in a homeschool journey that creates lifelong learners and passionate leaders that go out in the world and change this world for the better because man, every kid has unique gifts and talents. Every person has unique gifts and talents. And we have our own specific way, our own specific audience, our own specific niche that we can go out and change this world for the better. And that is what I am so passionate about helping you guys do because this is our legacy. This is what we are doing in this world as parents. We are trying to leave our kids in a better place so that they can go out and make this world better. Awesome. Awesome. Yes, I love it. Lori says her mission is to raise children who are lifelong learners. Yes, I love that. Absolutely, Lori. I am with you there, man. I am with you. And I have a crazy story to tell you in just a few minutes about that because it has been the topic. I mean, it's always a topic of our home, but it has really been a huge topic lately. And it's been so exciting. My son is 15 at this point, and he's really getting into digging into leadership and really owning his own life. And it is so fun. It's so fun. But you guys, it is so crazy because if we don't have these leaders, what does our world look like? if we don't have these leaders, I want you to think about that. If we don't have these leaders, what does this world look like? I mean, it's pretty scary. And right now we have a lack of true leadership. We really do. And so we need these kids to really go out there, and we need them to just really be strong, be confident, be independent, know what they know is true, but still be lifelong learners, right? Oh my gosh, we so need that today. So this is the focus, right? And if you're tracking and you're on the same page as me and Lori who's watching on YouTube right now, I love it, Lori. Yes, definitely. If you are on the same page with me, let's book a call. I'm going to put the link in the comments. It's always in the description of YouTube. It's in the show notes of our podcast. And you guys, please look book a call with me and let's talk about how to make that a part of your family reality. My husband and I should say, have over 20 years of experience in studying and teaching and learning and growing in leadership. We are students of leadership and we have been training others for such a long time. It is really just who we are. And it is so wonderful to see it come out in our son. It is so amazing to have it be part of our culture and him say, oh, in this book, oh, in that book, he said, da 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 da. This book, we just got a John Maxwell book yesterday, a new one. It's called High Road Leadership. Oh man, it's his brand new book. If you haven't gotten it yet, please get it because it's going to be great. It's so cool. And my son, he got the mail. He's like, oh, it's here, it's here. He sat down and he started reading it right away. Do you want me to read the first few pages to you, Mom? I was like, it's all great. Oh my gosh. I love this culture. I love this culture. So, but how do we actually make this happen for our family, especially if you haven't been a student of leadership for a really long time? That's what we want to know, right? How do we make this happen and this culture get created in our family and in our homeschool? Well, I'm going to give you two things, right? So the first one is intentionality. The first one is intentionality. And you guys know, if you've listened to me before, I am all about being intentional. Everything has to be intentional, from where your schedule is, your curriculum, your where your furniture is placed in your home. What craziness, right? From everything to your philosophy, to your daily habits, your routines, all of it has to be intentional. Because if it's intentional, then we are actively moving towards something. If you're just doing what you think you should do to check boxes because that's what everybody says, that's not being intentional. That's not creating leaders, right? Leaders are intentional. Am I right, Lori? Leaders are intentional, right? So be intentional with every single thing that you do. And then we're constantly growing, we're constantly adjusting, we're constantly modifying. And that is really, really important. And that's intentional as well. You can always just do the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And if you are a student of leadership, you know what is the answer. What is the definition? That's a definition of something. What is that the definition of? It's the definition of insanity. Oh my gosh. Yes, Lori, we are always still learning. I'm still learning. It is a process for everyone. It's a journey, right? I love it. I love it. Yes, stupidity for sure. Stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the different result. Definition of stupidity or insanity. Either way, we can call it the same thing, right? It doesn't matter. It's the same. I love it. I love it. So, yeah, we really want to make sure that we're intentional about every single thing we're doing. What messages are we sending with all of the aspects of our homeschool? The time of day, the activity, where it's happening, what's being sent in the messaging in our curriculum, and curriculum, you guys know, means a lot more things than just books and online and worksheets and stuff, right? You guys know that because I've talked about that lots of times, right? So, intentionality, what messages are we sending? And then number two, the second way to create the leadership culture in your home is to have the end in mind. How many people have read Seven Habits of Highly Effective People or Seven Habits of Highly Effective Teens, because he has that book too, right? So that book, it talks about begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. And so we want to begin with our end point. What does that look like for our kids? That leadership, what does that look like? I mean, really, get clear on that. And it's so, so important. And then make sure everything we do gets us to that end point, right? And help them develop their purpose, their mission, their passion, whatever you want to call it, that helps them decide, hey, this is a problem I want to solve in the world. This is something I think I could do, I'd be good at, that I want to solve. I love that, you guys. Having just that constant conversation is so deeply, significantly important. So, let me tell you about this. So, my son, we have this conversation all the time about our purpose, our mission, our passion, or whatever problem we're solving, right? And so, we have this conversation all the time. And my son is hilarious. He used to love, I mean, he still does. He loves animals, loves, loves, loves animals. So, he had never used to even watch, and he wouldn't watch anything, or like he if it just was a book about like people and didn't have animals, he wasn't interested when he was little. I love it. I love it. So, but now he's realized, in order to be able, as he's grown more in his education and his worldview, he's realized there's more to just, he can't just set up a conservation and have that be the end all of the he's solving the problem for saving wild animals, right? He wants to be able to have people live in the world where they can live with the ecosystems and things like that, where we're not destroying them and having, a symbiotic relationship with animals and the environment, right? He's not politicizing it, and he hates that fact of it, but he really is starting to get the idea of this. So that's one of his purpose and his missions. We talk about that all the time. And how does that look? And what would that look like? And he, as he's reading more and he's developing more and we have these deep conversations, it's really starting to come a little clearer. It's really, really awesome. So in addition to that, right now, we've been in this process for the last several months of him earning his brown belt in Kajikembo martial arts. And it's a huge deal. I mean, brown belt in anything is a huge deal. In our dojo, in our discipline, it is an enormous deal. It is way past black belt in any other dojo. He had to take a 2 full day pre-test just to qualify to test. And then there was a full day of testing on top of that. We're talking physical training, we're talking skills, we're talking mental training and mental testing. We're talking about, they had to do a written test. They had to do, I mean, it was huge, right? It was so huge. So to prepare him for this was a gigantic deal. And he, as we all do, was being confronted when we're trying to grow something, right? We're being confronted with limiting beliefs, right? And he was being confronted a lot with his limiting beliefs. And because it's a culture in our home, we talk about it a lot. We have these conversations a lot. And I can tell you that we have had hours and hours and hours and hours of leadership talks and leadership training and coaching and mentoring through this process. And the one of the last talks we had, I thought was so amazing. It was so, they're all awesome, but one of them was, we were talking about doing push-ups, and I was trying to get him to do enough push-ups to where it's really his body screaming at him. He can't do anymore. And he's just, and has to learn to stop listening to himself and start talking to himself and realize that he can do more than he thinks he can, right? Than his body is telling him he can mentally overcome, right? So it's really, really hard and it's really difficult, but he was really struggling with this. He was really getting to points where, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know, like I could see myself doing 30. I could see myself doing 40 maybe. And then we were talking about form and keeping the form right and how that's part of it. And it was really, he was really having a hard time. So we talked about these limiting belief a lot in past days and weeks and months, but we were really coming to a head on this. And this was the crux of his growth experience because it's about growing into the person that you are becoming, to a bigger person to reach a higher level, right? So I asked him some questions about this and about push-ups, and we were talking about limiting beliefs, and I started asking him more and more questions, and well, what about that, and how does it help this, and what happens at this, and okay, well, why is that? And he was starting this, like, why are we doing all these questions, right? But he knows to follow along for a while, and then I started asking him, well, okay. So and how does that, he was saying, this eliminate getting rid of limiting beliefs helps us do da 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 da. It helps us do this and this and so what about that? What does that help us do? And how about your mission? What does that have to do with your mission and your purpose and your passion, with animals? And he says, well, and what is that? And he says, well, why am I talking about this with push-ups? And I said, just hang with me. Just hang with me. We're going to get there. You're going to see. And we get to talking about this end goal. And he's like, okay, well, I want to, save the animals, and people need to learn to live in the world with the animals and the environment. And they need to be able to, come up with different technologies and da 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 da, and more educated, less self-absorbed, whatever the case, right? He said all of these things. And I said, okay. And what happens if they don't do that? What happens if people don't? So that's a responsibility that you feel that you need to solve in the world to help save these animals, right? What happens if they don't? What happens if people don't do it? What happens if you don't do this mission, this purpose, this whatever, right? And he said, he said, well, if they don't, it's gonna, and he started to get tears in his eyes, and he started to get emotional, you guys. It was so beautiful, and he was really passionate. He said, well, if they don't, we're gonna destroy the world. We're gonna destroy humanity. We won't even be able to live here. It'll be like Wall-E, like the movie Wall-E, it is gonna be terrible. And he's just crying at this point, and he's super upset. And I said, okay, yeah, you're right. It will be like that. I can't I don't want to get there, and I know you don't. So this is really, really important. So what do you think, going back now, and this is about like a half hour into this conversation, right? This is so awesome, you guys. So I said, what does that have to do with what we're talking about right now? What does that have to do with push-ups and really getting listening or talking to yourself instead of listening to yourself, and growing and limiting beliefs? And he was like, he didn't want to say it for a second, but he paused, and he says, well, I guess it means I need to throw all my limiting beliefs in the garbage. Right? It's so awesome. I guess I need to throw all my limiting beliefs in the garbage. I hear you, buddy. I was like, man, I feel the same way. I hear you. I am on a mission as well, and I got to grow. I got to get bigger, and we are all doing this together, right? We in our own unique ways. Yeah, Lori, totally right. Discipline in one area is seen in all the other areas of your life. I absolutely love that. So you guys, this is why and so to end the story, last Saturday, he had his brown belt pre-test, or his brown belt testing. It was an all-day event. He was pushed, and there were tears, and he worked hard, and he failed some, but he ended up passing his test. So he is a brand new brown belt in Kempo martial arts. And we are so super proud of him, because not just for brown belt, that really is, in the big scheme of things, doesn't mean a lot. But what means is the growth that he had to go through to get to that point. And that is so amazing, right? And the best thing was when he was getting awarded his belt, and what happens is the parent comes up. You have a sponsor, right? So a sponsor comes up. Usually it's a parent, could be somebody else, that holds the belt over them while the instructor is saying, you've earned this, in by the authority vested in me by my great grandmaster, blah blah blah, whatever, right? And so I'm holding the belt over him, and he gets awarded his belt, and then we give hugs. He puts it on, and we give hugs, and he says, mommy, and he's he's like totally teary-eyed. He's like, "I couldn't have done this without you." Man, oh, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it right now and just telling that story. Thanks, Lori. Yeah, that was a super big accomplishment right there. And couldn't have I heard that over and over throughout the next couple days was just, I couldn't have done it without you. I kept calling him, "Hey there, brown belt." And he's just, "Oh, thanks." And he's like, "I couldn't have done it without you." And he's so serious about it. It was so wonderful. But that connection that we're able to be able to make because of these conversations we're having, because of the leadership culture we have, is so incredible. So if you want that, if you want to develop that, let's chat. Send me a message on Facebook, through Instagram, send me an email, mentor@thefreedomscholar.com, or in the links, book a call with me. It's totally free. Let's chat. I love to talk about this. Is that not obvious? I love to talk about this, and I love to help you guys there. I am on this mission. So let's talk together. And you guys, what I was talking about that end goal in the Raising Leaders roadmap, that is what we do. We define this for you like super clear. We get it crystal clear. All of the areas that you want when your kids are, you picture them, you close your eyes, they're 18, leaving your home, they're in their life and they're living it. And what does that look like as a success for you? And then we have checkpoints, 15 checkpoints that lead you all the way to that. And that is creating leaders. That's what the Raising Leaders roadmap is about, you guys. It's so fun. It's talking about the first part of it, which is intentionality. The whole way through, we are very intentional about everything, and all the checkpoints lead you in that direction. Then checkpoint 3 is all about beginning with that end in mind, getting that crystal clear. And then the last 3 of the 15 are all, it's the Preparing Leaders program. Hello. It's all about you becoming the mentor that you need. I've become such a better mentor over the last few months because of a mentor that I have. So fabulous. I'm so excited about this, you guys. Let's talk. Let's get together. Let's have a conversation about how we can improve the leadership culture in your home, or start it if you don't have one going already, because a lot of people don't, and this just hasn't been part of their life, and it's totally normal. It's totally okay, because you can start it anytime you want. So exciting, you guys. This is something I'm super passionate about, obviously. I want this for you so badly. The results we're seeing because of this greater growth is just a beginning step for my son, just a little bit. And it's allowed me to grow more as a mentor, to be able to help him through this, because I've had to step back a little bit at times and go forward a little bit at times, and just know where that balance is very, very important to mentoring the next generation of leaders. So you guys, it's so exciting. It's so fun. I want this for you, and I am so excited to help you through all those checkpoints to get you there. So let's have a conversation. Let's chat. And I am really excited also about, I want to just share real quick the beginning step of this. You can learn a little bit more about this in the Homeschool Like a Boss workshop, which is coming up this month, May 23rd, on Thursday at noon. It's at noon Pacific time, same time as we have our lives. And so it's the Homeschool Like a Boss workshop. You may have thought, I've been to Cammie's Homeschool Like a Boss workshop before. I know the things. Guess what? This is all new. Like I said, I've been in a whole new place, a whole new position of growth. I'm mentoring other families and a lot of other families lately, and it is all brand new. It's so exciting. And we are focusing on creating leaders. We are focusing on lifelong learning, which leads to leadership. Lifelong learning, if it's intentional, right? So we want to be intentional. We want to create this leadership culture, and you need to show up for the Homeschool Like a Boss workshop happening. It's a free workshop. We're going to do a live Q&A after some training, and then you'll have an opportunity to also get the Love of Learning assessment, which I have linked in the comments, in the show notes, and it's also available through the workshop. We're going to talk about how to use it, and then we're also going to have an opportunity to speak with me one-on-one. Okay. So I'm super excited about this. Make sure I'm putting the registration link in the comments. Make sure you sign up for this, you guys. It is happening in just over 2 weeks, so we got to get rolling, okay? All right, you guys, I will talk to you again next week, and we are going to be sharing about some awesome information next week. Trust me, it is going to be very, very cool. And we are leading up to the Homeschool Like a Boss workshop. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.